we learn to control these mental states, we shall automatically control our environment. My title, To Reach Higher today, is about understanding our inner self, this spirit, and the one that was all of us. I call this spirit my inner know-it-all, because guess what? It does. It does. And it's up to us to get in touch with what it says it knows about us. Because what it says it knows, we've already taught it. We've already programmed it. We've either allowed ourselves to program it, somebody else to program it. Many times I've mentioned this before. We come into this world up until the age of, I don't know, is it 2 or 3 or 4? And there's a lot of things we hear and experience, emotions and relationships that we don't even remember. And yet we're influenced by that. We learn to act or react, laugh or cry, feel or not feel, because of the unconscious learning we've had. And so as we begin to change and move and grow, and to allow our equivalents to show up, we get to see that. We get to go, oh, there's one. Ooh, there's another one. Do I like that one or this one? Maybe. Do I not? Maybe. Change it. But we can't change it until we know what it is. The more we know about who we are is the time that we move into life with a greater understanding. Now, the understanding is our footing in life. What's under our standing? What are we standing upon? What are we moving with? What are we equipped to carry with us? I use a metaphor of a stepladder. It's easier one step at a time. Some folks try to take 2. Sometimes you slip. But the metaphor of the ladder is that we take the first step. And we do our life, most of us, 1 step at a time. Reverend Louis, I want to talk about now. Yeah. He's a profound teacher for me. And he will be for you when you get to see him. He's thinking next week. So know that, please. I stand firmer today knowing that his journey is in perfect order. And my participation is just what both of us require for our individual unfoldment and stepping forward. I found myself being a parent. Ever happened for you? Those of you who aren't parents, but when someone close to you needs care, what do? I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no clue. But I became protective and, caring and just like you would a parent. And I went, wow, that's one of my equivalents. I like that one. Now I had to stand firm and know how far I could get into that role, because sometimes it was reflected back to me by Reverend Louis. Okay, back up. So I had to move my ego aside a little bit too. All that stuff comes in. To say it doesn't, I'd be lying right here, because it does come in. It does come in. So you care, you love, you do what you know how to do, and then let someone else do the rest. Because sometimes, even though you know what to do in your life, someone else needs to do that thing. Because you're too close to it, or they won't hear it from you. So there's a lot of different aspects of this that's still percolating in my mind, and I'm sure in Reverend Louis too. But I want to tell you about his journey. It began about 2 years ago when a gal that we worked with, Lynn, and I had an intervention We had been in San Francisco, and we saw that he all of a sudden couldn't walk. He was limping. And so we said to ourselves, Lynn and I, we're going right into the immediate care we get to Chico. We're not going to go home. And so we staged an intervention. And there was some resistance from Louis. But we said, you aren't driving, you're getting out here. So we had an x-ray. That started it, found out there was a situation that was congenital. That's a key piece here for me. So he entered life with this. It took all these years to show up. So all these years of doing his life a certain way, from a certain perspective, there's been a shift. There's been a shift. And so what took 2 years to begin took 2 weeks once he said, this has got to be fixed, to everything falling in place. First medical appointment, first MRI, and the surgeon's appointment. And so it's quite a process. Once we make up our mind for anything in our lives, everything falls in place. He had perfect care. He had so many visitors one day. The gal at the volunteer said, Louis, one more visitor, and we're going to send you a bill for the carpet. But so, love. Louis' love. And so everybody supported him. Everybody, the right people showed up. The perfect surgeon showed up. The perfect private room showed up. Here's that room thing. The perfect, everything showed up. The man in charge of the dietitian design, friend of ours. You go, wow, wow. When you start seeing what's behind the tip of the iceberg, all that support that's there, all the different pieces that have yet to be revealed because it's not over yet. And kudos to the Robbins family for loving him so much to say, you're staying with us until you're ready to go home, because we have many stairs in our home. So until he can manage those, which would be next week, I'm knowing, maybe, we'll see. The right time, perfect order. So everything has just been so full for me. So what I know about this, his good is for a pain-free experience. That we carry the pain until we can't stand it. So I know that anytime we carry pain, any of us here, until we're ready to release the idea about it, that we can't be rid of it, we won't be. We won't be. And it's okay. It's okay. But if you need some type of clarity, see a practitioner. See a practitioner. They're here for you. So I say hip hip hooray for Louis, because you know that's his link on the website. Hip hip hooray. There hasn't been much news the last 4 or 5 days, but there will be, I'm sure. And so at times like this, we tend to ask ourselves, who am I? Who am I now? I'm through this, now what? So I have a little share from Dr. David Walker, who made this transition a few years ago. His book is called You Are Enough. You are enough. And I quote, I am not my resume, and neither are you. The most important question we can ask is, who am I? Let's not answer this question by first clarifying what we are not. We are not our bodies, our thoughts, our feelings, our careers, our reviews, our money, our relationships, our accomplishments, our experiences of life. We are none of these things. We are that which is aware of all these things. It's the awareness of all these things. We are mind. We are not what we see in the mirror. We are that which is doing the seeing. We are mind. And the mind that we are is complete because it is some part of the sacredness of life. End quote. So, beloveds, I encourage you to reach higher than you ever thought possible. Because you're dealing with the limitless possibility of divine mind. That mind of God. That universal goodness out of which pours the richness of the kingdom. The deeper we delve into ourselves, the greater our awareness of who we really are. I know those of you in class find that out. And as our knowing strengthens, we reach higher. And we do so in abundant and easy ways. And joyously claim our spiritual birthright. So I leave you with the wisdom of Rumi. This is for you, Stevie. We have known experientially the spiritual planes of reality. And the experience always comes with the feeling, I'm home. Beloveds, welcome home. So it is. So I would invite the ushers to come forward, please.